I'm Heather Robson with Wealthy Web Writer, and I have with me today Ben Settle. Ben, I'd like to start with just kind of a quick snapshot. I know a lot of our members are familiar with you and your work, but I'm sure some of them, this is the first time they're meeting you. So what do they need to know about you?
Well, I'm a fun, interesting, and very humble man. I don't know, seriously. You know what? I'm an email guy. I'm a copywriter. I do this because it's fun. And I never thought I'd get into this business, actually. It was completely by accident. And, nowadays I've taken it to this extreme that people seem to like. So we can talk about that if you want.
Sure.
It's up to you. Clayton seems to be a big fan of that. So.
We'll get into that. First, I want to, a lot of freelancers, when they're first starting out, they have this notion that, they want to get to this lifestyle where they're not slaving away, but to get there, they're putting in 10-hour days, 12-hour days, just really working sometimes 7 days a week. I meet people that, they're working more now than they ever did with their job, and they're looking to get past that. And you have certainly got past that. So what are some of the secrets to, kind of working the minimal effort, maximum return?
Well, this is one reason I'm a big fan of email. Now, there's a guy named Matt Fury who's I think he's the email king. So I'll even say he's better than I am, way better than I am. But I used to really admire his lifestyle because he would get up in the morning, write an email, and he's done. And he'd brag about it. Because listen, I wrote this in 5 minutes. I didn't even edit it for spelling or anything. Made X amount of thousands of dollars. Now I went off to China today to go ride elephants wherever he does. I mean, that's one of the things he does. I don't know, get massages. And I just thought, man, that is the best lifestyle. And at the time, I was slaving away as a copywriter, which is basically like a glorified job. I mean, for a freelancer, which is better than a real job. I mean, don't get me wrong. But it was too much. I didn't like it. It's just like I'm just switching one boss for another, and I hate authority. So doing the email thing has allowed me to just kind of liberate myself from all that. If I write a sales letter, it's for myself. I don't have to filter it through anyone else. If it fails, it's my fault. If it does, great. I get credit for it, I guess. But either way, it doesn't matter because I'm living it on my own terms and I enjoy it. And life has just never been more fun for me. So,
excellent. Well, emails are actually a great project for freelancers that are kind of building up their cred to start landing clients with. And I know that you did used to work with clients. So as they're working with clients and they're getting these break-in projects with email, what are your top 2 or 3 pieces of advice that they need to keep in mind when writing an email to make sure it performs well?
Well, first of all, realize that people are first and foremost wanting to be entertained. So if you're not fun or entertained, now entertain, I don't mean you have to take serious topics and make light of them. I'm just saying telling a story can be entertainment. It's natural entertainment. That's what people like. If you ask 10 people, when you went home today, did you read a book or watch TV? They're all going to say they watch TV because they want to be entertained. Now they'll tell you that they want content, but really they want entertainment. So that's the first thing. You start with entertainment, and then you segue down into whatever you're trying to do. Consistency is the most important thing. If you don't have consistency, you don't even do it because every day you got to be in that inbox or they're going to forget about you. There's this guy I mentioned yesterday during my talk, Bruce Barton. So he's the greatest, well, not the greatest, but he was a great ad man back in the 1900s. And he used to do these really cool radio shows where he would make these biblical examples for business because he was just into that. And he was talking about the book of Exodus when the very beginning, when a new Pharaoh arose and he knew Joseph not, and then the Israelites got enslaved and all that. And he goes, every day, if you're not in front of your market every single day, you're getting new kings are rising every day, people in your market, and they don't know you. They know you not. So email is the way that people will never forget you. You're always there. And in fact, they look forward to hearing from you if you do it right.
Excellent. Okay, so you talked a little bit about being entertained, and one of the things that I know copywriters bump into, and I think you're a really good one to ask about this because you have this great, unapologetically just who you are voice. When you're working with a client, sometimes they're scared to do that. They want to kind of lockstep the corporate voice. What are some of the ways that a writer can kind of help tease a real personality out of a business client?
Well, here's the thing. This is one reason I don't do client work anymore. But I know that does nobody any good who's listening. And just saying, well, get new clients probably isn't practical either. So here, this is a mindset thing, okay? And this is where it comes down to you cannot care what the client thinks. Your real client is the market. So you got to do what's right for them. Now, somebody will say, well, that's not practical either, but here's what I'm talking about. There's this term called spinning plates. Now, this is mostly for I work in the dating market. I write ads and stuff. So in that market, spinning plates means a guy who's having trouble getting dates with girls, he should be talking to multiple girls at once, at different plates he's spinning, so he doesn't need any one of them. So it's like a mindset. He's not a needy guy. It's not like, oh, I'm playing games. It's just like he just doesn't need, if he's needy, he's going to get like rejected and no one's going to listen to him.
Nobody likes a desperate person.
Nobody likes it. And that's what happens to a lot of writers. They have one client and they need that for their money. So I say, have multiple things, have multiple clients, be selling your own stuff, have your own podcast, have investments in other things like real estate or whatever when you can swing it. Have all these different multiple streams of income coming in, so you don't need any one client. And then you don't care what they think. You tell them to run it or find another copywriter. And I'm telling you, a lot of them will appreciate that.
I think that's very true.
Or test it, I shouldn't say. Run it, but test it or find another copywriter.
So I know a lot of our listeners are thinking, I really want to be in that same place that he is, where I'm not having to depend on clients, where I have my own list, I have my own followers, I have my own products that I can sell. How do they start laying the groundwork for that now? What are some of the key initial steps that they need to take to put themselves on the path to that sort of lifestyle? Okay,
so first you want to have like a market you want to go after that's completely different than what you're working in now. Something passionate and you're fun about. Like, for example, for some reason, I had prostate problems when I was like 30 years old, which is really rare. Because this is in my family. Like, everyone has it in my family problem. At the time, I was broke. I didn't have enough money to even have insurance or go to the doctor. So I had to do my own research to figure out a way to deal with this problem I had, and I did. I said, that's what I'm going to sell. And I started selling that on the side. This is when I was doing client work. So I had another thing on the side that was passionate. It wasn't work for me. It was like, I loved this stuff. Like, I went through a lot to learn this, and I want to pass it on to other people. I'm writing emails every day to a completely separate list, and just writing every day to a new market. Start out by going to like sites like easingarticles.com and just write an article a day. And you could turn that into an email. You could turn it into a video. You can turn it into a podcast. You can get a lot of mileage out of like writing one email or one article a day. And that's how you start getting an audience. And by the way, a lot of people say that the money's in the list, the fortune's in the list, but it's really in the audience. So you want to build an audience. You don't want to just have an email list. You want to have followers in YouTube and iTunes or however you want to do Amazon. We were talking about having Amazon books. That's a whole other audience. So the more audience that you have coming from these different directions, the better off you're going to be. Excellent.
Okay, so just a couple of final quick questions. What would you say to our audience about making mistakes? A lot of them are very afraid of making a mistake, that somehow that's going to like ruin them for the rest of their life. They'll never be able to write again. What do you say about making mistakes?
Well, first of all, you're going to make mistakes, right? And sometimes mistakes can work to your advantage. I'll give you an example. So I have a podcast, and I have another writer doing the email. She's one of my email player subscribers. She's really good at it. And I said, well, you want to write the emails for them? She does. Just today, she sent an email out for a product that's not going to be launched until Thursday. And she's using, F-bombs and stuff like, oh man, AWAI really screwed me. I said, well, don't worry about it. If this came off as a trick, yeah, you want to worry about it because you don't do it as a trick. But it was a genuine accident. I'm getting emails even before we got in here. Ben, the cart's not working. This is going to work to our advantage. People are going to want that product even more. But let's say that people don't believe this is true, but it is true. Trust me. Email is the most forgiving medium out there. You mess up today, you write an email tomorrow saying, my bad. I screwed up. Let me make this right. It's nothing to worry about.
Excellent. So what's a question that I haven't asked you that I should be asking you?
Well, you should ask me what my URL is because,
What is your URL? Tell us about that.
Well, I have two. I have bensettle.com. And if you go there, you don't have to opt in. But if you do opt in, I give you the first issue of my email players subscription newsletter. It's a $97 a month thing. And first issue is free as a PDF. It's a print newsletter, but I give the PDF. 24 ways in there to make more money with emails, regardless if it's for yourself or clients. That's one URL. Another URL is bensettleshow.com, which is my podcast, and you get the exact same opt-in bonus. But either way, there's tons of free stuff on these sites, and you can learn more about this.
Excellent. Okay, so parting advice for our listeners.
Consistency is everything. I'm going to tell that Seinfeld story. I hope that's okay. It's a long story, but it's a good story. So I think it was Entrepreneur Magazine asked Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian. Everyone probably knows who he is, at least. I hope so. They had the show Seinfeld. Back in the 90s, he was making like $400 million a year because of his jokes, basically. And they're asking, what was the key to your success? And he said, well, when I was just starting out, I had this big wall calendar, and every day I'd write a joke. It didn't have to be a good joke, but that was I don't care if someone died. I have to write a joke that day. Good, bad, doesn't matter. He wrote a joke every day. And then he would put an X through that day. And then the next day he wrote a joke. Good, bad, didn't matter. He would put an X to that day. So it was like a chain of these X's through the calendar. And he goes, as long as I don't break that chain, that link, I'm going toward my goals. And I'll tell you what, with emails, it's exactly the same way. Write an email a day. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You don't even have to send it. But just write every day, and you're going to move mountains, I promise you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.